at Nupsing. I'm the Vice President Mining Projects at Nouveau Monde Graphite. I'll begin my presentation. We have a lot of waivers. We have two slides indicating our relationships with the industry members. Nouveau Monde Graphite is building a vertical integration system that will provide active anode material for lithium-ion batteries. It starts with our mining concentrator project, and we also have a second transformation plant in Bécancour. We want to become an integrated producer of mining material, of anodes and batteries. Our main site is the Matawini mine in the town of Saint-Michel-des-Saints, 120 kilometers northeast of Montreal. We've started building that project. When it will be in full operation, it will be able to produce more than 100,000 tons of flake of graphite. The life cycle of the mine is 25 years with a possible extension. Most of these paillettes and flakes will be sent to our second transformation plant in Bécancour to produce material for fabricating anodes for the lithium-ion batteries. The flakes from Matawini will be shipped to Bécancour. There are 150 kilometers approximately between both sites. In the Bécancour, the second transformation will be operated. There will be sterilization, purification, and for the processing to produce anode material for batteries. So design in Bécancour will make it so that it will be possible to develop or expand the site if need be, depending on the market. On the right side of the slide are represented our long-term expansion sites. We have the Watnam project. It's the old Mason Graphite project near Bécomo. It's to produce a concentrator that will produce 500,000 tons of paillette concentrate with a life cycle of the mine of 24 years. And when production begins, it should be the biggest natural graphite production in the world.
So our strategic plan, we are at the very end of phase one regarding the risk reduction. So we installed demonstration factory in Saint-Michel and Bécancour to show that our processes are working good, to be able to send material samples to the manufacturer for batteries. We started the execution phase, and the construction phase started in Matawini. And in Bécancour, we are completing the engineering process regarding that project to start the construction by the end 2023. As I explained, and as I will explain a bit later, we are working with Panasonic regarding our product purchase when we are in production, and for the growth, we are planning growth and transformation in Bécancour, where we are planning to install a second transformation plant in the United States or in Europe. Obviously, our ESG models are very core and security in mining exploration and operation. the co-availability for our mining disposals on site. We'll have some equipment, electrical equipment, and we are implementing our agreement in partnership with the First Nations community in Saint-Michel-des-Saints, and we will have IBAs with the groups. To reach net zero emissions by 2030, we are going to implement a transition to an open mine, 100% electrical. We have an agreement in partnership with Caterpillar to build our zero emission fleets for fully clean energy, electricity energy with very competitive prices. We have an exclusive process regarding the purification with use of much less energy used compared to classical and typical proceedings, and we have a full cooperation for recycling batteries. As you can see, we have access to green and clean energy sources. With our process that consumes less energy, we can produce a graphite material with a carbon footprint, a very low carbon footprint globally. So is 10 times weaker, or use 10 times less energy as the classic production chain. In the graphite market, in the lithium-ion batteries, it's the material that takes bigger volume in a lithium-ion battery. We can see there's a growth in the use of electric vehicles, and the demand would be bigger than the demand. And on the a lot of producers want to diversify the source of energy. So there are graphite mines throughout the world. And the second transformation is in China, 100% in China. So the manufacturers of electrical batteries are going to diversify their production in order to have more local sources. So we are perfectly well installed to be able to respond to that demand. Whatever the chemicals in those batteries, the graphite has the biggest part of the anode in the battery. The demand should be spread to the offer over the next few years. So in the mining congress lately we participated, we could see that the batteries are going to be able to be built, but it will take about 10 to 20 years to install and to implement this kind of manufacturers. So I think we'll be in good position to take over that new market. In the United States, the Inflation Reduction Act, it's $370 billion dedicated to the climate agenda, with incentives for EV purchase, with credit linked to the battery compositions and the source of those components. After 2024, the sources will have to come from a eco-friendly source in the United States. So due to that, there's a huge need and will to find new sources of for approval by the United States law. In Martigny, in Saint-Michel-des-Saints, we are going to produce very highly pure graphite at about 97% in flakes, and the majority of these flakes will be sent to Bécancour for a second transformation with fernization steps, purification steps, so that the graphite concentration will be between 97 to 99.95%. And the next step will is with a coating operation. In the next production, Bécancour, on a yearly basis, we're going to transport 2.5 million tons of ore. Will become 103 tons of concentrate, and this flakes concentrate will be sent directly into the market, but the majority will be sent to Bécancour to produce anode and battery materials. In Matawini, this is an open mine on only 120 kilometers from Montreal, with a mining float fully electric, located next to Saint-Michel-des-Saints, and with all the permits and the license are implemented by environmental decree, and it's started already. The construction has already started. We have access to the key infrastructures and local manpower. Due to this site, there's a huge potential to make it bigger to respond to the market needs. As you can see here on the left-hand side, we can see the actual site with 25 years life expectancy. So we're probably going to expand it. It's possible to expand it. Just a couple of pictures here so that you can see how our concentrator will look like in Matawini. Phase 2 for the transformation factory in Bécancour. This is facilities that will take all the transformation steps from fernization, purification, and coating. We purchased 200,000 square meters terrain next to Bécancour with some railways, and it's ideally located in a industrial pole, an industrial area, producing batteries with BASF, GM, POSCO, Vale, and Nemaska Lithium. I have already announced further projects. On phase 3, regarding our expansion project in Ouatnan at the north of Bécoumou, that will be a mining exploration, and with 500,000 tons of exploitation per year. Our cooperation with the Panasonic Energy, with one of the main provider of batteries in the world, Tesla, for example, and we want to define an offtake on materials, on anode materials, and our interest, Panasonic's interest is a very low carbon footprint of our product, one of the weakest footprints in the market, and that allows to maintain Panasonic involvement regarding decarbonation in conformity to the law of inflation reduction as well. We signed an agreement with Caterpillar to work together to develop mining equipment for open pit mining. This is the Matawini is 100% fully electrical open pit mining and a technological windows to the world. We studied the possibility to provide graphite to Caterpillar and to NMG to study the new kind of batteries. Over the next 12 months, these are the actions we're going to take regarding our projects. Phase 1, we are going to limit the risks, and we're about to start the phase 2 on constructions already started in Matawini mine. We are going to optimize our feasibility study for modification and specification on Panasonic requirements, with a purchase, fully and definitive purchase agreement with Panasonic. We will start that at the very same time with project financing and FID on definitive investment to start the construction in Matawini and Bécancour. We are also talking with manufacturers, battery manufacturers, for a partnership in our factory in Bécancour. Then we are going to keep on working on the preliminary phases on battery, and we are going to launch a feasibility study for the potential development on Huetnan mining project. For the next 5 years, our fully integrated production in phase 2 for Matawini mine and Bécancour battery factory in Huetnan, and we are considering the opening of a transformation factory in the United States and in Europe for Bécancour expansion. And I'm concluding my presentation. Thank you very much.